It is Nigel Farage. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning to you. Very well indeed, thank you.
The appropriate music there. Former leader, UK Reform Party. Have you set foot in Mississippi yet, or are you on your way?
I'm on my way. I'm doing a 6-week tour all around America. I'm working with Freedom Works, the conservative grassroots organization. Great guys to work with. And I'm here because, my whole career was based on building up the grassroots, building up a people's army, and we took on the British establishment, we took on the global establishment, Obama, all the rest of them, in pushing for Brexit, and we had a long, protracted battle. Even when we thought we'd won, they kind of tried to take it away from us. But we've won. We're out. We've got Brexit. It's the biggest geopolitical change since the fall of the Berlin Wall. We've also, into the bargain, in England, smashed socialism completely. Socialism is unconscious, on its back, on the floor. And the reason I'm on this tour is because I know a lot of American conservatives have been feeling, they've virtually been in mourning since the election in November. They're horrified at what's going on in many of the cities, very worried about some of Biden's plans, and they're feeling down and disillusioned. And I'm here to say, look, we felt down and disillusioned in 2019. 3 years after the referendum vote, and it hadn't been delivered, but we turned it around, and we did it. We did it by not being disillusioned, by picking ourselves up and fighting back. And I genuinely think, that if conservatives can get into a positive mindset, get campaigning, get working, not only can the Republican Party sweep the midterms, but put somebody back in the White House in 2024. So I'm bringing a message of optimism.
We need that, because I got to tell you right now in America, you are absolutely right. And in the GOP, there are a lot of people worried citizens in this country. You've seen the ups and downs as far as conservatism there. You guys have battled through. I think the thing that we worry about is, are our leaders of the GOP and conservatism in this country, are they up to the task? Because we don't want to be caught short again, Nigel, like we were in this election. Or do they have a game plan? And I think that's the thing that worries us as far as the leaders in the House and the Senate and the chairman and everybody else as far as the GOP. You've got to have some kind of game plan.
I think that's right. No, I think that's absolutely right. And of course, there have been, quite a few divisions within the party. But I tell you what, one thing for certain, I was down last weekend. I was at Mar-a-Lago. I spent some time with Donald Trump. He's looking fit. He's keen. He's still the leader of the party. Yep. He's the guy. And, some people don't like his New Yorker style, and I understand that, but he's the guy with the vision. He's the guy with the courage. Who else is there that is genuinely going to stand up, not just to the Chinese Communist Party, but this appalling attack on free speech through cancel culture that is taking place across the world? And he's the guy that can do it. If somebody else comes along in the next few years, that's great. But he's the guy that I think people must rally around. And, the British Labour Party went so far to the left, obsessed with transgenderism in sport and dividing us all up into different groups according to our ethnicity or sexuality. And what that did, it alienated working class, blue-collar, traditional Labour voters. They've left the party in their millions. And I see the parallel, the exact parallel here in this country with the way the Democrats are going. So I would say, all the while Trump is there, the party is going to have a real purpose. I would agree with you. One or two of the leading conservatives are perhaps not as inspiring, should we put it that way, as some may want. But the other point to make is, the last time I came to Mississippi to speak was in the August of 2016, and I was invited by the then governor, Phil Bryant, and at that moment in time, Trump was absolutely down on his luck. He was 12 points behind in the polls. Everybody said he hadn't got a chance of winning. And you know something? Yeah. From that meeting in Mississippi, his campaign never looked back. So I like to think I was a bit of a lucky charm when I came to Mississippi in the August of 16, and I hope I can do the same again.
I got to tell you, that intersection between you, the governor of the state, Phil Bryant, and the president is That's the stuff of books, and it is just amazing how that came together. And I was reading some of that, and it's a good read. I do want to tell you, in Biloxi, you're going to be there May the 22nd at the Coast Coliseum or the Convention Center. It's called the America's Comeback Tour, and that's this Saturday. The doors open at 2 o'clock. The event starts at 3 o'clock. Who else is going to be with you, and a little bit about what's going to happen then?
Well, Phil Bryant is going to be the master of ceremonies, so he'll be in charge of the show. I'll be the speaker, but there are also going to be a couple of very, very talented, up-and-coming local Mississippi conservative politicians. So, yeah, we're going to have a full show, and the audience will also get a chance to meet, to ask questions. And, I think if I can put and by the way, I spoke in 5 different states last week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night. Yeah. And the crowds that are coming are getting bigger and bigger with every night that passes. And American conservatives, they love this message that we've managed to smash socialism. And I think the opportunity is here for you to do it. So I shall share all those secrets on the stage in Biloxi at 3 o'clock this Saturday.
I have 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, Saturday afternoon, 22nd.
I have one question, though, and the question is, what's going on in England and in Great Britain seems to be a lot of the same thing here, because we always think that you hear the Russians, the Chinese, our adversaries, our enemies say we're going to tear you down from within. We don't have to fire a shot. We can defeat you within. It sounds a lot like, when it comes to socialism, the same thing is happening there.
Yeah, I mean, look, we saw the Labour Party, our traditional left-of-centre party. We saw the Labour Party go through several years of Jeremy Corbyn's leadership, somebody who, it is not an exaggeration to say, is a pretty open anti-Semite and a Marxist. And the party went in that direction, and they were all very pleased in London about what they were doing, but out in Middle England, people were utterly repelled by it, and as I say, for now, socialism is unconscious, on its back, on the floor, and the parallel that I see with a Democrat Party that's now being filled up with the AOCs and critical race theory and all these things that are being talked about and being done. And I just think you've got the same opportunity here in this country. Yeah. But it isn't going to happen by magic. None of this just happens. People have actually got to get up out of their chairs and say, right, we're going to roll our sleeves up. We're going to get out and campaign. We're going to work for this. We're going to fight for this. And I honestly, I promise you, if American conservatives do that, you can completely overcome all the obstacles you're facing today.
I don't think that that enthusiasm, because all of those people who were coming to the rallies, I think that they would they'll get back in line. They'll start buying tickets again as soon as something happens, and maybe Trump decides to run again. But if you talk about rebuilding the GOP, you're 95% there with Trump. And not with Mitt Romney. It's just not going to happen. The old GOP is gone. It is now Trump's party.
Oh yes. There is no question about that. And of course, as a whole load of primaries come up, it is very likely that the party itself, in terms of the candidates that run for the midterms, will begin to reflect actually where the Republican Party needs to be. Yeah. Because that old guard, that old Romney guard, we're never going to win an election, ever. It wasn't going to happen. And it's Donald Trump, of course, that has picked up more black voters. It's Donald Trump that has picked up more Latino voters. It is Donald Trump that, just in the same way that Reagan, appealed to many people who were Democrats, Trump does the same. And so the party just needs to get behind him, make the right selections in the primaries. And as I say, it's all well and good to turn up to a rally and cheer, but you've got to turn that into action.
Absolutely.
And grassroots politics, this may be the most unfashionable part of politics, but those conversations that go on the doorstep, in the street, at the golf club, in the bar, wherever it may be, those conversations that go on, anybody that wants to overcome the horrible direction that the Democrats are taking America in, their socialist dream from America, all your listeners have to do, if every one of your listeners now says, right, I am going over the next 18 months to convert 10 people and make them understand why getting out and voting in these elections matters for the future of our country, then hey, that's how good things happen.
Well, I will say this. There's been no other president in American history that's had more I told you so's in the short period of just a few months. As a matter of fact, there's an I told you so posted on every gas tank in America. 80% of all gas tanks are empty in D.C. this morning, from what we hear. We'll mention it several more times. Nigel Farage, sir, thank you.